Nordson Corporation is proud to continue to invest in educational opportunities through our sponsorship of Academic Challenge. Nordson is a global leader in precision technology solutions with a long and proud history of giving back to the communities where we live and work. To date, Nordson and the Nordson Corporation Foundation have donated nearly $173 million to charities, awarded $7.5 million in scholarships, and our employees have logged more than 117,000 volunteer hours. Thank you for watching Academic Challenge. Best of luck to all the participants.
Let's go! This week, teams from
New Philly! Perkins! Pymatuning Valley!
Compete on the Nordson Academic Challenge! Yeah! Here we go! And we welcome you to the Nordson Academic Challenge. I'm your host, Rob Powers. We are so glad you're with us this weekend. For the next 30 minutes, our players will be tested on their knowledge of subjects like math, science, history, a few others as well. One more time. Let's welcome our teams from New Philadelphia, Sandusky Perkins, and Pymatuning Valley. Let's take a look at the leaderboard right now. These are the scores that need to be beat today. Keep in mind, by the end of this season, 60 area high school teams will have competed trying to make this leaderboard. The 3 highest scoring teams will be back to play in our 57th championship game to try to win the top prize of $6,000 for their school, awarded by our friends at Nordson. All right, let's get it going here. We get it started with the lightning round. All 3 teams compete in this round. I ask 10 questions. They all have a common theme. We award 20 points for a correct answer. We will take away 20 points for an incorrect or no answer. Let's get this thing started with 100 points for free for every team. Hands on the buzzers. You all set? All your answers here must be 5-letter words with an R in the middle. R as in rat in the middle of that word. Got it? Here we go. This ancient projectile would be kept in a quiver. New Philly.
Arrow.
That is correct. The Statue of Liberty carries this in her right hand. New Philly.
Torch.
That is correct. He was Britain's prime minister during most of the American Revolution. Perkins.
Oh my God.
No, it was north. It was north. Sorry about that. This is one of our Great Lakes. Pymatuning Valley.
Erie.
Huron. Huron with the R in the middle. This planet has just one moon. Perkins. Answer is Earth. Earth, sorry. This Italian physicist created the first nuclear reactor. New Philly.
Fermi.
That is correct. This is North Dakota's most populous city. New Philly.
Fargo.
That is correct. Damascus is the capital of this beleaguered New Philly.
Syria.
That is correct. This chemical element has the symbol B. New Philly.
Boron.
That is correct. Joining us for our final lightning round question today, it is Nordson's very own Brandy Kessler, the Senior Specialist of Talent Acquisition.
Medical technology is one of our specialties at Nordson, and with that in mind, please name the main artery of the human body.
Answer is aorta. Aorta. All right, that's our first round, everybody. We are off and running. Don't go anywhere. We're back with more of the Nordson Academic Challenge right after this timeout. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. If you'd like any information about any of the schools that appear this season, scan that QR code you see in the upper right-hand corner of your screen with your cell phone. That code takes you to the news5cleveland.com Academic Challenge page. We have links for all of our schools this season right there for you. Time for us now to play Hot Picks. One at a time, I ask each team 8 questions picked by the captain of another team. Correct answers here worth 20 points. No penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 8 questions correctly will receive 25 bonus points. But before we get to the questions, let's meet the members of our teams. Let's start with New Philadelphia. Oscar, we start with you. Tell us about yourself.
I'm Oscar. I'm a junior, and I've been doing Academic Challenge for 3 years.
3 years? Mm-hmm. Welcome back. Nice to see you. Addison, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Addison Sears. I'm a senior, and I've been doing Academic Challenge for 4 years now.
Whoa, 4 years. Oscar, you got some catching up to do. Finnegan, tell us about you.
Hi, I'm Finnegan Blocker. I've been doing Academic Challenge for 2 years, and I'm a sophomore.
Good for you. Welcome back, everybody from New Philadelphia. For your questions, we go to Sandusky Perkins Captain Maeve. Maeve, open board here. 1, 2, 3, or 4?
3.
You got it. All right. New Philly, these are all for you. All set? Here we go. By 1855, artists had to compete with photographers eager to portray what awesome waterfalls on the New York-Canadian border?
Niagara Falls.
Of course it is. Donuts were brought to the New World by the Pilgrims who had developed a taste for them in what lowlands country?
The Netherlands.
That is correct. Guadalcanal is the best-known island of what Pacific group named for a wise biblical king?
Solomon.
Solomon Islands is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which of these terms represents a measure of inertia?
Mass.
Mass is correct. It wasn't until the 19th century that Japan mustered a national army independent of what powerful feudal class of warrior?
Samurai.
That is correct. According to the title of a story by J.D. Salinger, it was a perfect day for what kind of fish whose name includes that of a tropical fruit? Answer?
Starfish.
Banana, the banana fish. No problem. We go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. Evaluate this expression if x equals 9, taking all roots to be positive. Answer?
20.
20 is correct. What man became our youngest chief executive at the age of 42 when he became president following the assassination of William McKinley in 1901?
Theodore Roosevelt.
That is correct. Nice round, New Philly. Good job. There you go. All right. Our second team today comes to us from Sandusky Perkins High School. Maeve, you are the captain. Congratulations on that. Tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Maeve. I'm a senior. I play the tenor drums in the marching band.
Oh, we welcome you here this morning. Thanks for being here. Hi, Asher.
Hi, I'm Asher. I'm in drama club and I paint.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Chloe, you're up.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Chloe, and I'm a senior spokesmodel with 1826 Photography and the drum major of my band.
Good for you. Welcome this morning to all three of you. For your questions, Perkins, we go to Pymatuning Valley's Captain Claire. I like that, Captain Claire. 1, 2, or 4?
2.
You got it. All right, Perkins, these are all for you. All set? Here we go. While there are 4 oceans, the international dateline passed through only 2, the Pacific and what smallest, coldest ocean?
Arctic.
That is correct. From 1842 until 1845, the British government maintained diplomatic relations with what short-lived North American republic led by Sam Houston?
Texas.
That is correct. Photographs taken at the World War II Yalta Conference show Franklin Roosevelt seated between Stalin and what British Prime Minister?
Winston Churchill.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here's your science question. Which of these terms refers to a process within a given cell in which the number of chromosomes is reduced by half and the cell is reduced to haploid state?
Meiosis.
That is correct. The elusive Higgs boson particle was finally discovered using the Large Hadron Collider in what European country whose capital is Bern?
Switzerland.
That is correct. What woman who did a detailed study of voodoo is known for her 1937 novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God? Answer?
I don't remember.
Is Zora Neale Hurston. No problem. We go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. We ask you to solve for X. Answer?
0.
0 is correct. A book called Poems of Religion and Society was the work of what man who chose politics over poetry as our 6th U.S. president?
John Quincy Adams.
That is correct. Nice round, Perkins. All righty, moving along. Pymatuning Valley, you are up next. Captain Claire, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Claire, and I'm the senior drum major for our band, and I'm the swim team captain.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Hi, Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm a junior, and I am in show choir and band.
Good for you. Welcome this morning. Maddie, you are up.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I am also in show choir and band.
Good. All 9 of you, thanks for being here today, and welcome to News 5. For your questions, Pymatuning Valley, we come back to New Philadelphia's Captain Oscar. Oscar, you're back on, man. 1 or 4?
1.
1, you got it. All right, PV. These are all for you. Here we go. A meat and potatoes historian might note that a major cause of American immigration in the 1840s was the Great Potato Famine in what European country?
Ireland.
Of course it is. Congress passed the first fugitive slave law in 1793. The same year, Eli Whitney invented what device that greatly increased the South's use of slaves?
The cotton gin.
That is correct. In the U.S. Capitol building, there's a statue of what Shoshone Indian woman who helped guide the Lewis and Clark expedition?
Sacagawea.
That is correct. Let's go to the monitor. Here is your science question. Which of these substances is an aromatic compound? Answer?
Ethylene.
Benzene, sorry. One woman with special powers was what sorceress from the Odyssey who turned many of Odysseus' crew into swine?
Circe.
That is correct. Eating hamburgers became safer in 1907 after Congress was prodded into action by what Upton Sinclair novel about the meatpacking industry? Answer?
No answer.
Is The Jungle. The Jungle. Anna knew that one. Let's go back to the monitor. Here's your math question. We ask you to solve for X.
48.
48 is correct. Performing in an amateur production of Oliver Goldsmith's play She Stoops to Conquer may have helped what future 27th president when he later gave political speeches?
No answer.
Is William Howard Taft. But hey, heck of a round, every one of you. There we go. We'll be back with more academic excitement right after this.
Stream.
Here we go. Welcome back to the Nordson Academic Challenge. Joining us this morning from Cuyahoga Community College is adjunct faculty member Peggy Zahir. Peggy, thank you so much for being here. It's great to see you. A first-timer in the seat tonight. Before we get going with our next round, we're going to take a look at the scores so far. Third place, 180 points, Pymatuning Valley. Second place, 200 points, Sandusky Perkins. Leading the way right now, 360 points, it's New Philadelphia. Hold on. Time now for the Picture Perfect round. All three teams compete in this round once again. I ask 8 questions that have a picture clue. For every correct answer, we give you 20 points. But for a wrong answer or no answer, we take 20 points away. So hands on the buzzers, eyes on the big monitor. All set? Here we go. Called the Pillars of Creation, this is part of a nebula named for what large bird that appears on the Great Seal of the United States? Pymatuning Valley?
Eagle.
That is correct. Had Van Gogh painted these sunflowers in the Sunflower State, he'd have been in what state? Home to Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, New Philly.
Kansas.
That is correct. The artist Gilbert Stuart not only painted George Washington, but 5 other U.S. presidents, including this portrait of what 5th chief executive? PV.
John Quincy Adams.
James Monroe is the answer. Sorry about that. What is the value of this expression? Give your answer as an integer. Answer? There we go.
1,000?
1,000 is correct, yes. The tomb of the Habsburgs contains the remains of the mother of Marie Antoinette, an 18th century Austrian empress with what 2-word name? Perkins.
Maria Theresa.
That is correct. The red square on this chart covers what gaseous, non-metallic element? PV.
Helium.
That is correct. Author of Up From Slavery. This is what educator who founded the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama, New Philly?
Booker T. Washington.
That is correct. Time once again to celebrate Cleveland's culinary scene with this mouth-watering edition of Cleveland Magazine. And what better way to do so than with roasted chicken? A member of the kingdom Animalia. And which phylum, which it shares with fish, reptiles, amphibians, and mammals? A long way to get there, but answer is chordata. Chordata. That's the end of that round. Nicely done. Yeah. Don't go anywhere. We mix it up after this. Welcome back to the big show. Let's meet our advisors from New Philadelphia. Scott Holmard and Lindsay Palmer are here. From Sandusky Perkins, it's Megan Smith and Michael Mottler. And from Pymatuning Valley, Amy Moyer is here. Thank you so much for being here, getting the kids here, and all the work all year long. All right, time for us now to mix it up. One at a time, I ask each team 6 questions. A correct response here is worth 20 points. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team answering all 6 questions correctly in this round receives 25 bonus points. New Philadelphia, you're up first. All ready? Here we go. This is a super chance for you to find in this phrase the name of what South American country associated with the Incas?
Peru? Wait, Peru?
Peru. There it is right there.
Yeah.
Which of these words describes a question asked by someone who doesn't really expect an answer?
Rhetorical?
That is correct. Combine the chemical symbols for these elements and you name what type of sweet, such as M&Ms or Hershey's.
Candy?
That is correct. The letters in this phrase can be rearranged to name what scientific device used to measure earthquakes. Answer?
Seismograph?
That is correct. Which one of these animals is classified as a marsupial?
A possum?
That is correct. That was big. This is for the bonus points. Take a happy moment to complete this quotation by filling in the blank with the name of what gems created by oysters.
Pearls?
Pearls is correct for the bonus points! Have. All right, Sandusky Perkins, that is how it's done. Ready to roll?
Yes.
Here we go. You'll earn 20 valued points if you find in this sentence the name of what Swiss city that identifies prisoner of war conventions.
Geneva.
Geneva is correct. There it is. A person who is afraid of cold and ice would be suffering from which of these phobias?
Cryophobia.
That is correct. Combine the symbols for these three elements. You'll name what small rodent that shares its name with a computer accessory.
Mouse.
That is correct. Instead of dirt, see if you can rearrange the letters here to name what kind of rock, sometimes linked with igneous or metamorphic. Answer? Sedimentary. Sedimentary. Sorry. Although these states all had economic problems during the 1930s, which one was not in the Dust Bowl?
Minnesota.
That is correct. Bird watchers would disagree with this comment, which you can complete by naming what's smallest of birds.
Hummingbird?
That is correct. Nice round, Perkins. Okay, that gets us to Pymatuning Valley. All set?
Yep.
Here we go. It would be nice if you can find in this phrase the last name of what American astrophysicist who's popularized science through multiple TV appearances. Answer is Tyson, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Someone who is very lazy can best be described by which of these adjectives? Answer?
Indolent.
Indolent is correct. Combine the chemical symbols for these elements, you get the what word for a single player on an NBA team from Los Angeles?
Laker.
That is correct. Rearrange these letters to get the last name of what German scientist who developed the temperature scale commonly used in the U.S.?
Fahrenheit.
That is correct. Which of these phrases can be identified as alliteration?
Grow great grapes.
That is correct. To complete this quote from a popular observer, place in the blank what type of electromagnetic radiation that travels 186,000 miles per second.
Light.
Light is correct. That's the end of our round. Good for you. Everybody, good for you. We'll be back with our final and deciding grab bag round. It's coming up after this. Welcome back. It's time for the grab bag round. All three teams competed in this round. I ask as many questions as time allows. For every correct answer, it's 30 points. But you'll lose 30 points for a wrong or no answer. Again, this is for all three teams. Hands on the buzzers, eyes on the monitor when we need it. All set? Here we go. At one point, city leaders with an itch to try something different brought in goats to eat the poison ivy in what Vermont capital city? New Philly.
Montpelier.
That is correct. You won't find any car chases in Thoreau's book about this peaceful life by the shores of what Massachusetts pond? Answer is Walden Pond. Two circles that intersect at exactly 2 points have how many tangents in common? Answer is 2. Portugal's Tower of Belém was built centuries ago to defend the harbor of what Portuguese capital city? New Philly.
Lisbon.
That is correct. William the Conqueror made his second son king of England, but left his eldest son what French duchy where the Allied forces landed centuries later? New Philly.
Normandy.
Normandy is correct. Choice. The best explanation for the nearly spherical shape of falling raindrops is capillary action, surface tension, or vorticity. Answer is surface tension. A professor named Hippocrates Apostle translated into English the writings of what ancient Greek philosopher who had been a student of Plato's? PV.
Socrates?
Aristotle. Aristotle. I guess I blew it at Munich. Might have been a text from what British prime minister who gave in to Hitler when he signed New Philly?
Chamberlain?
That is correct. Possessing the Secret of Joy is a book by what African-American woman who also possessed the skill to write the color purple? PV.
Maya Angelou.
Alice Walker. Alice Walker's the answer. Choice. When an atom of uranium loses 3 electrons, it becomes an ion with a charge of -2, +3, or -1. Answer is +3. The Boston Tea Party was no college prank, but that's our buzzer. That's the end of our game. We go to the scores from there. All right. In third place today with 240 points, it's the team from Pymatuning Valley. In second place with 320 points, it's the team from Sandusky Perkins. And the winner of today's academic challenge with a robust 685 points, it's New Philadelphia. There you go. Be sure to join us next time. We feature teams from Norway, Riverside, and Sandy Valley. Thanks for watching this one. I'm Rob Powers. Study hard. We'll see you right back here next week.